Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond 106.1 International Business Group Radio, as well as the Hounds of Business. You know what time it is? It is the Poplar Springs UHS Hour. Welcome to the program, folks.
Thank you very much.
All righty, so we got people from all over the place. So we got, in studio, we got some virtual, we got a whole lot going on because we're bringing you important messages that are out there regarding mental health, substance abuse, all the great things. We're going to start off with a voice that you guys here know when we start talking about Poplar Springs. Lamar, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
And you did not roll up in here solo? No, you did not?
Nope. Part of the UHS family.
My name is Eugene Yamufio from the Newborn Youth Behavioral Health Center. It's just a facility at Poplar Springs. We do most of the same things. Nice to be on here with you all.
All righty. So we have Allie.
Hello, thank you for having me.
All righty, Allie, let's tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name is Allie Wall, and I am the Director of Human Trafficking Services with Safe Harbor, located in Henrico, Virginia. We're a nonprofit organization that works with victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. I'm also the owner of Wall Clinical Consulting that has a clinical program for victims of exploitation and provides consulting services to the professionals that work with those clients.
So, Allie, really quickly, have we ever met before? I've done the things with Safe Harbor in the past.
I've only been with Safe Harbor for 2 years, so I'm not sure if we've met or not, but we would love to do some things with you again.
One of the things is, so when we talk about the human trafficking aspect, I was at a synapse meeting one time, and there were like 4 men and maybe 15 women. When it was done, the men were just horrified.
Right.
It had just shocked the men. I guess not just the men, but people, period. But you could tell the men we were affected. We hadn't heard anything like that. So it's good to have you here. Welcome to the program.
Thanks
Amy,
so much.
down in Petersburg, welcome back, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry I can't be there in person, but happy to see you virtually. Yes, I'm in Petersburg right now, currently at work. I am the Director of Behavioral Health here at Poplar Springs, overseeing our clinical departments for our outpatient, residential services, and inpatient for our acute civilian population.
All righty, so we're going to go around the room, and we're going to start off with folks. You guys have some things you want to let us know. Lamar, we're going to start off with you, an overview of who you guys are and what you do.
All right, excellent. Yeah, so Poplar Springs Hospital, as you know, we're located in Petersburg, Virginia. We are a 172-bed facility offering inpatient services, outpatient services, and also a dedicated military hospital. In 2024, we actually shifted things a little bit. We shifted our residential treatment center to an all-girls unit. And the reason why I wanted to be on the show today is to kind of inform you about one of our new programs, which is why I asked for both Allie and also Amy to be up here to talk about our sexual trafficking program.
All righty, and alrighty, so let's talk about what's going on down in Newport News.
Right, so Newborn Youth Behavioral Health Center, it's a total of 108 residential bed facility for treating kids with psychiatric issues and behavioral health issues. And we also have an acute unit, which is a 24-bed unit that treats kids that have extreme behavior issues resulting from a psychiatric episode. Both are housed on a campus just a few minutes off of Williamsburg Road. And what we treat is kids all the way from 8 to 17 years old.
Okay, so let me ask you, Amy, what are you new and exciting happening down there? Give us the state of where we are today.
So as a hospital pinpoint, we do have a couple new things coming up. We have, which I know we are on talking about, our substance use clinic that will be opening in Chester. And we also have a new kind of specialized track that we are working with Allie from Safe Harbor with to address some of the growing needs in our community and in the statewide, pretty much, of our youth population for our females. So Allie has been generous. She's been working with us. I don't know, Allie, would you say about a couple months, late last year, maybe?
Yeah, around December.
Yes, we started working together, kind of brainstorming the needs, and she has been graciously helping us start this new track. So we are having a separate curriculum for the sexual exploitation and human trafficking population. And I know she has, a lot more to say about that, but we are really trying to specialize here and set us apart from other facilities, especially for that adolescent population, trying to be more trauma informed, treatment focused here at Poplar Springs as a whole, but really in those residential kiddos that we are lucky enough to get with us for a longer state of time.
Amy, really quickly, as we look over to Allie after that, what was the cause that you guys needed to go there? What were you seeing out there?
So I know our population, even before I even met Allie, I started seeing this population in our residential, whether we knew about it prior to their admission or it started coming out in their intakes or it came out 2-3 months later once they had that rapport with their therapist. And their therapist is like, I had no idea about this trauma of either they were trafficked or the sexually exploited events that took place in their lives that has kind of hindered their mental health. So I actually was talking to a friend and she kind of put Allie and I in touch with each other. And she's like, you really need this. And we talked about it for a while, but I think one day I was like, listen, we keep saying we're going to get in contact with Allie, but I really need this because the girls are, coming up to double digits of how many girls have been in a residential with this population.
So really, Allie, really quickly, give us 2 or 3 things that people would be shocked with human trafficking. Maybe age-wise, maybe it's boys, girls, some things that we don't know.
So one thing people don't realize is that this is absolutely happening in our communities. This is not another state problem, another country problem. Like Virginia is in the top 20 in the nation for human trafficking. And we have such a large homeless and at-risk youth population that are so vulnerable to this. And 1 in 3 teens that run away and are on the street will be lured into trafficking within 48 hours. And when you mentioned boys, like I don't like to take away from boys that are victims. They absolutely are. However, they do not come forward as much. There's a much stronger stigma, and more female victims are recovered.
Well, okay. Well, thank you very much. That's just a ray of sunshine. When you're saying 48 hours is no time.
Right.
So basically, you just hit the street or whatever, and within 48 hours, you could be in harm's way.
Right. Because, they need somewhere to sleep, somehow to eat, somehow to have money, and they don't have jobs. So if they don't run away to a friend's house or another family member's house or something like that, and they're on the street, they are very susceptible to someone saying, hey, I can help you. I'll take care of you. I'll give you that better life than you had at home. I'll help you make money. And that is very alluring to these teens that typically are running away from home for a reason.
All righty. So now, down in Newport News, the age that you had said you guys started 12?
Yeah, acute hospitals that's at 8 to 17, but our residential program starts from 11 to 17. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about one program that we started.
Okay.
So one of the programs that we started is called the Comprehensive Assessment Program. We call it a CAP program. And this assessment and diagnostic program, as you know, most youth in the mental health field are heavily misdiagnosed, right? So think about it, the child is having emotional or behavior issues. They go see a psychologist for about 2 hours or so. And the psychologist does a couple of assessments on them and then slaps a label on them that stays with them for the rest of their lives. So for example, you saying a kid has been labeled as having conduct disorder or bipolar disorder or major depressive disorder. 2 hours is just not enough to have such a comprehensive assessment or a label on a child that will likely stick with them for the rest of their lives. So we figured that instead of having that, we take kids that have extreme behavior issues that are not suitable for the home situation because of their behavior problems, put them on campus and have enough time to see this kid, know this kid, understand them, help them build relationships and rapport with their therapist, connect with people, see them how they act in the morning when they wake up, when they go to school, what triggers them. All of these things help us to kind of know who this kid is on an individual level, complete 16 different assessments on them, which will lead us closer to a more accurate diagnosis so that treatment from then on out will be more tailored to their needs versus having 2 hours to just label a kid. So that has proven to be very successful. Kids are coming to that program labeled or diagnosed more appropriately, and then subsequently their treatments are more helpful to them than otherwise.
Because we will put a label on somebody in a minute,
In a
and
second.
that label stays with you.
Exactly.
A couple years ago, everyone was bipolar.
Right.
Now everyone is narcissistic. I mean, what is that? I think maybe it's a term that we got, but everybody who's kind of acting up or doing something, oh, they're narcissistic.
Right.
And like you said, when you label somebody at 8, 10 years old,
right,
it sticks with you forever, and it's hard to break that. So your program goes more into diagnosis and saying we got to take a little bit more time.
Holistically, look at the child as a human being over time. What triggers them may be very different in a family session versus individual in their classroom, right? What triggers them from a kid calling them a certain name may be very different from another name. See what I'm saying? So we humans are very complex, even more so children who have mental health issues, right? So you cannot be that quick and call it comprehensive. That's why we want to take the time to remove them, have time with them to give them a proper diagnosis, which reduces significantly the problem of misrepresenting or mislabeling young ones.
When you see a parent has, we'll start, Lamar, we can just start at Poplar Springs right now. A parent sees their kid may have something. They're not sure what it is. What's the step that they need to do? And maybe Amy, we can go to you with me. Yeah. Lamar's looking at me like, yes, Amy, what do we
sorry, go ahead.
What do we do? What do parents need to do when they think there's something wrong or there's an issue, but they don't know what to do? What are the steps that they kind of need to take?
I mean, I definitely think a listening ear, right? Just reassuring your kiddo that you're there to support, not to kind of pester them to tell me what's wrong, But then obviously you want to get them to a safe spot, right? To therapists, to make referrals, intakes, any of that stuff. If you feel, it's kind of a loaded question there, Mike, depending what you think is wrong. But having somebody that kid can talk to, whether it is another family member, a neighbor, anybody that they feel comfortable with, prior to making obviously an outpatient appointment or an intake, if you feel that they are in harm's way for themselves or others.
So really quickly, Allie, what's the engagement look like with Safe Harbor? So I think something's wrong. What do I need to do, Allie? What do we need to do as parents or family members to get involved so we can help?
So with Safe Harbor, we offer like a plethora of services. We have a domestic violence shelter. We have our human trafficking shelter for adult victims. We also have counseling for victims and children that have witnessed violence in the home or experienced abuse or trafficking. We also have a court advocacy program where we support victims in the court in Henrico that are trying to get protective orders. And we also have a hospital accompaniment program for victims. What would be great for the community is, one, we have a volunteer program. So if you want to volunteer your time and help these victims, we have an extensive volunteer training that they go through, and then they can help in many ways. We are a nonprofit, so I am always going to plug that donations are what help keep us afloat and help us work with all of these victims.
All right, so Allie, how can people find information out about what you guys are doing over at Safe Harbor?
So if you go on our website, which is just Safe Harbor, let me give you the exact one so I don't make it up. If you just go to, it's pulling up different because I'm not in Virginia. Go to our website, which is safeharborshelter.com, just SAFEHARBOR. SHELTER.com. That gives you all of our services, how you can help, how you can be a part of the movement, etc.
All righty, thank you. Thank you, Artie. So Lamar,
Yep.
let's talk about how can we get information out about Poplar Springs.
So one, you can go to our website, www.poplarsprings.com. Now, I want to stress that, I'm sorry, or you can call us directly at 866-546-2229. That's our toll-free number. And I wanted to stress is that we do take walk-ins at our hospital, and we are, since we're both together as the UHS family, we have a call center. It's called KidLink. So if any adolescents in the community need placement, you can make this one phone call and be considered by all 9 of our hospitals here in the state of Virginia.
And that's interesting because a lot of times that's one place to call.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, all right. How are the kids doing out there? You talk to a bunch of people. How are they doing these days now? We're coming out of the pandemic. We don't talk about that anymore. Or like, what's the state of kids these days?
I feel personally, I feel a lot of uncertainty with young kids out there. When they come into services, they're unsure. They're unsure about where things are, how things are playing out, where their family is headed. They're not sometimes we think that they're not old enough to know what's going on around in their communities, but they do. Kids are very self-aware. So uncertainty and not being sure is where I feel like the regular kid's state of mind is. And as you know, when we're unsure and we're uncertain, sometimes our behaviors are not really adaptive. Because we don't know what to do. We're uncertain. I think Ali said it, that we reassure young ones. It's best for us to do that now. When we start behaviors, early intervention is the most important thing. Start now, families, lean into the community, see a therapist, go to your community service board, and make sure that you're getting the help that you need for your child early so it doesn't get out of hand.
Hey, Ali, really quickly, are we better off mind frame wise than we used to be? Is some of the stigma gone? Is it better than that?
I mean, that's kind of hard to answer. There's definitely been more education, right? We've been educating the community more, educating law enforcement, educating professionals. So the education, I think, is definitely better. And I believe that there is a bigger awareness. There's still false information out there regarding, driving around in white vans and kidnapping children. That is not happening. But I do think that we are in a better state in terms of awareness. Stigma, I think, is still an issue. I always give an example of when I'm training and talking to the community, because this is a real life situation. We have a child come in and say, oh, my family member sexually assaulted me. And we are like, oh my gosh, we're going to help you. You are a victim. And then I have a girl, that comes in and says in her interview, yeah, I slept with over 300 men. And she says it like that, as if it's just matter of fact. And people are looking at her much more negatively, as if something's wrong with her and she made this choice and she's just what we would maybe call fast, or other words I don't want to say, without realizing that she's saying those things so she can feel in control when she was in a situation of zero control. So stigma absolutely exists. I think more with adults than with children, but it still definitely exists with the children, that they must be loose and fast, etc., in order to be engaging in these things, or drug addicts, etc.
I see now, maybe the word is getting out there, because I do see when you see hotels or you see airlines,
Yes.
or you see, truck stops, are like, hey, everybody, be on the lookout for these, clues about human trafficking. So maybe the
Right.
word is getting better out there.
For sure.
Alrighty, as we wind down, Lamar, what's the last words of wisdom you have for us today?
Again, if you need help, we're here. We're in the community. We're at the YMCA. We're at Rotary clubs. We are trying to be everywhere we possibly can be. We can be available to you all. We're taking walk-ins. You can go to our website, or you can call us toll free at 866-546-2229, and we can get you assessed in a minute.
Assessment chapter. Get the mental health that you need, folks. These folks are here to offer assistance. They're awesome at what they do. And I'd like to thank you.
Oh, I'll just mention our website.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, so our Newport News Behavioral Health Center, our website is newportnewsdhc.com. And you can reach us at 757-888-0400.
So what's an engagement look like with you? The phone rings, person is in distress, parents or somebody, family members, we need help.
Thank you. Good question. So we invite them for what we call a walk-in. So a walk-in, they just show up. We have what we call a fishbowl where they sit down, and then we do an assessment on them to see if acute hospitalization is for them.
Okay.
If it's not right for them, we point them to what we call a less restrictive service that is more community-based. But if acute hospitalization is, we can take them immediately and then work with them short-term. I think it's about 7 to 9 days. And then we discharge them to a less restrictive level of care.
There you go. That's good to help out. It's needed to help us out. Like, thank you guys for tuning in. On the mic, Mike UHS is here with us. They're talking some really great things. Get the help that you need. It is out there. So we'd like to thank you for tuning in. Take care, folks. Thanks now.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Thank you.